Hello everyone, welcome. I'll just allow another 60 seconds for everyone to join before we start. All right, there's just a few more people waiting to be let in now. Okay, we'll just give them 30 more seconds. If anyone else is in London joining us today, I'm with you in solidarity in this heat. So hopefully my glasses stay on my face for the entire webinar. But if not, time to invest in some good air conditioning, I think. Okay, so it's 1 minute past and we'll begin today's webinar. Welcome everyone. My name is Jason Trainer. I'm the Head of Customer Success here at Minut. And welcome to our customer educational webinar series, the first episode of hopefully many more to come. So by the end of today's webinar, you will have a strong understanding of how to best utilize your thresholds and escalation messaging to stop an event before it escalates. Today, we have a few points to cover on the agenda, starting with an overview of your monitoring settings before we ensure that you have the right hardware for your monitoring. We then move on to monitoring settings and event resolution times before we look at making escalation messaging most impactful. And we'll finish today's webinar with some customer stories on how some of our existing customers have managed to reduce their operational costs with Minut. Before we dive in though, it'd be great to get an understanding of how everyone is currently using Minut with a quick poll question. So the initial question is, which monitoring setting do you currently find delivers the most value? Is it A, noise monitoring, B, indoor climate, C, crowd detect, or D, smoking detection? I'll just pause for another 30 seconds to give everybody a chance to answer, but it's looking like noise monitoring is in the lead. Yeah, closely followed behind smoking detection. Okay, cool. I know a few more last minute votes and noise monitoring is back in the lead. Okay, great. So I think we'll leave it at that. It's quite obvious from those results that noise monitoring is by far the current monitoring setting that people are utilizing the most. But hopefully by the end of today's webinar, we'll have a few people utilizing a few more things that they hopefully know a lot more about now. Okay, so firstly, we can begin with an overview of all of our monitoring settings that are available to you on Minut and a brief summary of their key benefits. So you have the ability to activate one or more monitoring settings on your account. Each setting is designed to provide you with a comprehensive overview of any activity happening in your properties at that time. It's important to note that all monitoring is privacy safe. Our monitoring settings are noise monitoring, which allows customers to monitor noise levels within a home and alerts you when levels are too high and may cause issues. It provides insight into the sound levels in your property over a specific period of time. We then have crowd detect, which aims to alert you when a crowd is assembling in your property by sensing nearby iOS and Bluetooth signals. Our indoor climate monitoring ensures you maintain a healthy and comfortable space with temperature and humidity tracking, with the ability to alert owners to potential mold risks. And lastly, we have our smoking detection feature, which alerts you to the risk of cigarette or marijuana smoke in your home. Please note that all monitoring settings have exportable PDF reports available. These reports can be used for claims or evidence of any events if needed. So now I've had a brief overview of our core monitoring settings. We're going to take an in-depth look at how to best optimize your thresholds for more accurate monitoring. For each setting, we've done the hard work for you here by analyzing our entire customer base to provide you with some insightful tips on how to best optimize your thresholds. So beginning with noise, you're able to customize your noise thresholds via the settings tab on the main menu. Setting presets allows users to create unique profiles with fixed settings and add specific properties to those preset groups to better apply bulk changes. Firstly, our data shows that most noise complaints occur during the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. when people are more sensitive to noise. With this in mind, we would recommend setting up quiet hours on your account. Quiet hours will allow you to differentiate between day and nighttime with custom noise decibels for each time frame. When setting noise thresholds, we would recommend activating varying decibels for both daytime and nighttime. Generally, neighbors are more tolerant of noise during the daytime, where we would suggest a daytime setting threshold of between 75 to 80 decibels. And during quiet hours, when neighbors are a bit more sensitive to noise, we would recommend a lower noise threshold of between 65 to 70. Customers who have properties within close proximity to one another, such as apartment blocks or serviced apartments, should consider having stricter noise decibels if neighbouring homes are prone to complaints or have shared communal walls between flats. For those properties with no shed walls or as standalone homes, you can be more lenient when setting up your thresholds. It's important to note that specific geographies mandate noise thresholds or limits. For example, in New York, Airbnb guests must comply with a noise code that cannot exceed 42 decibels at night within the home. So please ensure if you have any similar legislations that impact your portfolio, that these are suited to best adapt your needs. Our next is indoor climate. Indoor climate thresholds are set on a device level via the main menu. Multiple devices can be selected at the same time to apply changes in bulk. Simply tick the box next to the desired home before clicking Settings in the top right-hand corner to apply any changes. As a guideline, the ideal indoor temperature of a home should be between 20 and 22 degrees. The ideal humidity levels for a home are between 40 and 50%. We would therefore suggest setting up a trigger warning when humidity levels exceed 50% before there is a risk of mold. For dry environments with humidity levels below 40%, we would recommend purchasing a humidifier to ensure adequate airflow throughout the property. If, when monitoring indoor climate, you do see sudden spikes in humidity, please note that this may indicate windows being open, steam from cooking, or a shower with no door. When monitoring brief spikes in humidity, please keep in mind the duration of the event to see if it drops shortly after to assess the validity of the event. Our next is smoking detection. Smoking detection is led by AI technology, which improves from your customer feedback. For example, year to date, we have received 3,794 smoke events, of which only 431 events received feedback in the app, either positive, negative, or unknown. So, as a reminder, event feedback can be left directly via the smoking event on the Minut app. But from the feedback that we have received so far, we've been able to make the following improvements to smoking detection. In October last year, based on customer feedback, we extended the remit of our smoke detection to include marijuana. From reviewing feedback on false positive events, we identified that smoke as a result of cooking was one of the main reasons given from customers for false positive events. From this, we started to research the unique properties of cooking smoke that will help us exclude these qualities from future smoking events. So if anyone has any customers burning food or with poor cooking skills in their apartments, please keep the feedback coming because our team find it super useful to build out the algorithm of AI. As we look through the data of customers who reported missed events, this led us to make an adjustment in March this year for the model to accommodate different ventilation levels and temperature swings within the home to reduce false positives as well. And also based on sensitivity requests, we've also enrolled some customers into a new beta testing group to see how the performance differs. All going well, we will hope to make this available to the wider customer base in time. So with improved feedback comes faster results. So a big thank you to those customers who are quite religiously leaving feedback on events. And to those who aren't, this is your friendly reminder to hopefully start doing so soon. If you would like to be a part of any beta testing group, or you're keen for a short feedback session with our product team, please reach out to our support team via hello@minut.com, who can arrange a meeting for you. Our final monitoring setting is crowd detect. So thresholds are set on a property level for crowd detect, where the occupancy levels for each of your rental units should be used as a guideline. We work off the basis that each customer has a minimum of 3 Bluetooth devices when traveling, and therefore a home with a maximum occupancy of 2 guests will create a default threshold of 6 devices for that home. If you would like to be more modest when setting your thresholds and put a lower limit device per person, simply lower the occupancy levels when setting this up. We have received feedback from customers who use this functionality in apartments that are within close proximity to one another, that they have an inflated number of crowd detect events. For those customers who are managing entire blocks or hotels, we would recommend using this functionality as a secondary monitoring tool while the team looks at ways that we can better adapt the accuracy of this monitoring setting to different types of portfolios. So now you know what's available. We want to ensure that everyone has the correct hardware to support your monitoring needs. So here is a brief comparison chart of our Gen 2 device versus our Gen 3 sensor. To summarize the key differences between them, historic Gen 2 devices were not manufactured in Sweden, but all hardware moving forward is. Our Gen 3 devices are waterproof and suitable for outdoor monitoring, so outdoor monitoring is not available on our Gen 2 devices. Smoking detection is only available on the Gen 3 hardware, and the battery life remains the same across 2 hardware types, lasting approximately 1 year in length, depending on the activated monitoring settings on your account. So to ensure your sensor is set up correctly, the Minut sensor can be installed almost anywhere, but there are a few things to keep in mind when choosing a location. We recommend attaching your sensor to the ceiling directly facing the floor. To fix the device, use the magnetic plate with the adhesive strip and stick to the ceiling. Those with the ability to hard mount their devices, we would suggest using your average flathead screw to mount in the middle of the mounting plate. For any reason, if you need to remove the magnetic plate and adhesive, from experience, we've found using a hairdryer on a hot heat and placing it near the mounting plate will soften the adhesive and allow you to remove the magnetic plate without any damage to the walls or ceiling. When mounted at a standard ceiling height of 2.5 meters, this translates to a monitoring radius of around 2.5 meters from the sensor. For homes with a ceiling that is higher than 3 meters, we recommend placing the sensor on the wall at around the 2.5 meter mark instead of the ceiling at 3 meters. If you also wanted to avoid recharging your sensors, we recently introduced mounting kits for power over Ethernet and AC adapter kits, so devices will remain plugged in and fully charged at all times. So now you've had a friendly reminder of our core monitoring settings. We're going to take a more in-depth look at how to best optimize your thresholds. We've analyzed customer resolution times based on the settings that they have activated in their account to provide you with the following insightful tips. But before we dive into the escalation messaging, it'd be great to understand, are you currently using Minut's escalation messaging to instantly resolve noise events? So firstly, yes, no, or you'd like to learn more? It seems that we're quite even between the 3 at the moment, but a majority of the customers are not. So hopefully, after recapping some of the benefits, we can see a few more people activating escalation messaging on their accounts. There are a few more people that want to learn more, which is great. By all means, we'll send a recording of this webinar to anyone who's attended following the webinar, and we can also share any necessary resources to you if possible. Okay. So we can move on to our escalation messaging. Our escalation messaging can be tailored as follows to suit your needs via SMS alerts, which is sent text messages to the lead number associated with the booking or reservation. Written messages via the inbox. So this is available via our Guesty PMS integration and Airbnb integration. Auto call using a pre-recorded customizable message. We also have call assist available, where a trained operator will call the guest directly. And finally, alarm and sound, where the installed device will flash and sound an alarm inside the property. So you can use one or all of these options and combine them over the 3 escalation levels for any noise event. So we've done some analysis for you on our customer base as well, and their corresponding resolution times to find the following trends that we'll share with you today. So incidents with SMS alerts resolve 12% faster than those with no SMS messages sent. 77% of all auto messages are answered by guests. Auto call messages are answered by the guest. Those with custom scripts resolve noise events 34% faster. Activating sound and alarm significantly reduces the average resolution time. The optimum timings for escalations are 5 minutes for the first event, 15 for the second, and 25 for the third. And call assist is 30% more likely to connect with a guest when compared to auto call. So just to look a little deeper into our call assist functionality, over 70% of all noise events happen during the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Call assist is 30% more likely to connect with a guest and diffuse an escalating noise event when compared to any other escalation messaging during unsocial hours. It reduces your workload and costs by adding an extra level of communication to your operations and is available in both English and French. All operators are trained in peaceful conflict resolution and will nudge guests to keep the noise down without letting a situation escalate. Our communication experts can reach out to guests anywhere in the world at any given time. The flow for activating call assist on your account is done via the Call and Guard Assist tab on the main menu, just over on the left, before clicking the Get Started prompt as shown here. If you do have any issues regarding this, please reach out to our support team at hello@minut.com. Okay, so we're now on to our third quick poll check-in question. So before we look at some customer examples of how they're using Minut and their monitoring settings, our final question is, would you be interested in automating guest calls during events? A, yes, I'd love to explore that. B, no, not needed for now. Or C, not yet sure, would like to know more. Okay, it looks like a lot of people would like to know some more information, which is great. Okay. All right, it looks like we have some information-hungry people, which has come out with a clear winner from that poll question, which is great. Thank you very much. So our final topic for today, now that you have a better understanding of the foundations of utilizing both your monitoring settings and escalation messaging, we're going to take a more in-depth look at some innovative ways that customers are reducing their operational costs and making Minut monitoring start working for them. Please note, to protect these customers' true identity, we have altered their images and company names to ensure that we remain privacy safe. First company is Lord of the Rents. So during busy summer and winter periods, many property managers receive complaints around temperature, accompanied with a request for either fans or heaters. Prior to following through with any requests, the team checks both the current temperature and the temperature event history in the home via the Minut event log before making any unnecessary purchases or incurring call-out fees for their owners. When purchases are made, they show owners PDF reports on temperature and humidity levels in the home to further justify the cost for the owner. The team over at The Least You Can Do. This company often receives complaints about Wi-Fi strength and signal throughout their homes. They use the Wi-Fi strength on the Minut device level as an indicator of signal strength in the property and overall connectivity. If there is no signal, they then ask the guest to follow a standard router reset as the first step of their troubleshooting procedures. They refer to these checks as network checks. Okay, it's our last two companies of the day. So it begs the question, this customer is located in Sweden, where homes are prone to freezing water pipes. During winter months, heating is consistently on when the homes are occupied, although when the homes are vacant, they adjust the indoor climate thresholds to notify them of the risk of freezing temperatures within the home. This ensures that they don't incur any damage to the plumbing within the home or any potential issues if they were to secure a last-minute booking on one of their homes. And it's our last property manager for today, the Moody Tenants Club. This customer manages seasonal luxury homes in Portugal. During the down season when homes are vacant, they activate the security alarm in collaboration with motion and window break detect as an added level of security against intruders. In doing so, this reduces the need for them to send their field staff to these properties to carry out essential property checks. And they are 4 examples of how some of our customers are using Minut to their advantage and reducing their operational costs. So now you've had some inspiration from our existing customers and some of their stories. It's time for a Q&A session. So please feel free to type any questions in the chat. I'll have the opportunity to work through and answer whatever we can on this call. But if anything does remain unanswered, we will come back to you as a follow-up from today's webinar. Or alternatively, you can reach our support team by emailing hello@Minut or visiting our customer help center from the Minut website. We have had a few questions that have come through on the chat intermittently while we're talking. I will just review those and answer them. Okay, so the first question is, how does the call assist operator know my guest's number, and what happens if the guest doesn't answer? Okay, great question. Guest details are pulled directly from your property management integration. So there's no additional setup needed. If you don't use one of our PMS integrations, you can manually upload the guest details on each of the bookings that the team can use for the name and for the phone number. When it comes to calling guests, so if the guest doesn't answer on the first attempt, the operator will make 3 follow-up calls to ensure that they connect. Following each event, you will get an email summary detailing the conversation that the operator has had with your guest. And in the rare case that we're unable to connect with the guest, we will notify you directly. So that is hopefully giving you a bit more information about Call Assist and how it works. Okay, there's another question around, do I need to disclose Minut sensors on my listing? What should I tell my guests about Minut? Okay, each of the OTAs really has varying policies on this. Most platforms will require the host to disclose if there is noise monitoring technology installed. So for Airbnb listings, this will automatically appear as an amenity on your listing through our integration. In other cases, for those that don't have a specific field for noise monitoring, we would recommend adding a brief summary to the property description on your listings that outline that there is noise monitoring technology. It is privacy safe, but it is installed in the property. We have had customer feedback with cases of property managers who aren't advertising that Minut is in the home, and therefore when there is a noise event from a problematic guest, it's actually they're unable to use our evidence and PDF reports as supporting their claim because they haven't disclosed to the guest that there was noise monitoring technology in the home. So I think, yes, definitely get Minut up on your listings and make sure everyone is aware. Okay, there's another question from Mark. Hello, Mark. I don't want guests to remove the device while I'm asleep. What should I do to prevent that? So there is a tamper detect functionality on our devices. So when the device is removed from the mounting plate, this will appear on your log. While it doesn't lock into place, it will actually alert you when it is removed. We do have a recommendation of some of our alerts and how they can be customized. So there are a few solutions in the pipeline for this with our product roadmap in ways that we can better alert you to the type of events that you want to be alerted to at whatever time you do. So that is coming in a bit of a revamp of our escalation procedures, probably later in the year. Okay, do you plan on adding any more lock integrations? There's nothing necessarily lined up at the moment, but by all means, if there is a smart lock solution that is making your life easier, please do let either your allocated customer support manager know or someone from our support team, and we can always look at adding more. But at the moment, we only have Nuki. We're always on the lookout for others. So please, if there's anyone out there that a lot of people are using for smart locks, by all means, let us know. Okay, we have a question from Roberto. Can I set a different SMS message for each sensor? Yes, you can totally customize thresholds and messaging at scale via noise presets in your settings. So that can definitely be done. Okay, there's a message from Thomas. We've had multiple false alarms before. I don't want to disturb the guests when anything is actually happening in my home. So what we would recommend for escalation messaging is keeping the first message as friendly in tonality as possible. So we would recommend just giving a friendly reminder, hey, just be mindful of our neighbors, for example, and keep noise to a minimum when you're in the home. That would be an example of the first escalation message. The second one may well be something along the lines of, we have noticed there's been a continued level of noise. You are now at risk of breaching the house rules. Please be mindful of your neighbors and other residents in the building. And the third escalation message, when a noise event has potentially been going for 20 minutes in duration, what we would recommend is then getting a bit more forceful with the guest and implying that, you now are at risk of breaching our house rules. There is a penalty of £300 per person. And you are now at risk of having to pay a penalty due to prolonged periods of noise. I think that looks like a majority of the questions in the chat today. I'll just double check. Okay. I think a majority of them have come through, but we can definitely, there's a bit of feedback. I currently have call assist. How do I set up the guests to receive calls after the first message? So at the moment, it's only after the third call, but it's a good suggestion and we can look into it. Many times we've had issues with groups of 15 people or more being loud. Minut only notifies one guest. So definitely we can look at if there are secondary contact numbers on a booking, but at the moment, the way that Minut pulls their contact details for any guest is via their integration with one of your property management softwares. So if there is another name listed on the booking with a number, by all means, it's good feedback and we can look at resurfacing that for you. Okay, I think that is predominantly most of the questions. I'll just double check. Okay, yeah, a majority of them are answered. If there's anything we have missed, I will be sure to circle back from anyone who's left a comment. But thank you very much for joining us for the first of our customer stories webinars. And hopefully you've learnt a thing or two and are inspired to activate a few more monitoring settings on your account or customize some of your escalation messaging with some of the various solutions we have. Thank you very much.